BlackRock, Bitcoin, ETF, Larry Fink, what's going on? When are we likely to see this Bitcoin spot ETF approval by the SEC? And how will this likely impact the Bitcoin market and price action? Let's discuss it, shall we? Let's start with right here, actually. First and foremost, did you know the BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, this handsome gentleman right here, considered one of the most powerful men in the world because he controls the most powerful company in the world, or asset manager with 10 trillion in assets under management. 6 years ago, as of yesterday, he said, index of money laundering, that's what Bitcoin is for. Now today, Larry Fink is racing to launch the Bitcoin ETF and sees crypto as a flight to quality, as he recently shared on Fox TV. Now check this out. BlackRock Bitcoin game plan. Number one, BlackRock realizes Bitcoin is here to stay. Facts. BlackRock creates FUD and dumps the Bitcoin price. Facts. Number three, retail investors sell Bitcoin, real talk. Then BlackRock buys Bitcoin, and this is where we currently are in this cycle. They're mass accumulating, and more than likely, that's why the price action has been on the rise. They're setting up their ETF, and in order to do so, they got to be accumulating sats. Now, ETF launches, which is going to be the next stage we're going to be talking about, followed by the Bitcoin bull market starting game on. How many of you took advantage of Bitcoin and are currently front-running BlackRock and the major institutions? Holla at your boy. Now, also, as pointed out here, within 75 days, the first Bitcoin spot ETF will be launched. That's because January 10th is the deadline for ARC21. So here's what Crypto Rover has to share. In exactly 75 days, the final deadline for ARC's Invest Bitcoin spot ETF will arrive. The reality is that the SEC cannot reject ARC's ETF and then approve the BlackRock spot ETF. So considering that Grayscale has already won a lawsuit against the SEC, it is likely that all the spot ETFs will be approved before ARK invests. Therefore, we can anticipate the introduction of the first spot Bitcoin ETF within the next 99 days. Now, I've been telling you guys to expect the unexpected. Why is that? Because that's the deadline. It can get approved sooner, of course, way sooner when not everyone's anticipating it. That's right. BlackRock Plan iShares Bitcoin Trust is currently listed on the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation known as the DTCC. Now, industry watchers pointed this out recently, and the plan fund ticker is IBTC, so keep an eye out on that. This is according to the latest listing. The DTCC spokesperson told Blockwork that the proposed ETF was added to the list back in August. The inclusion in the eligibility file to both active funds and potential ETF launches is standard practice, the representative noted, adding it is not indicative of regulatory approval. Now, Bloomberg Intelligence senior analyst Eric Balchunas said on Monday that the IBTC is the first proposed spot Bitcoin ETF listed on DTCC, a financial market infrastructure giant that processes trillions upon trillions of dollars in securities transactions on a daily basis. Now, a DTCC subsidiary, the National Securities Clearing Corporation, has a process for clearing the ETFs, which includes the ability to review the ETF's portfolio constituents, which is also used to automate the creation and redemption of ETF shares and their subsequent settlement, according to the company. Now, a representative for DTCC did not immediately return a request for comment, but a BlackRock spokesperson said the firm was unable to comment due to filing restrictions. Now, it basically means because they're filing, they got to be very careful about what they share publicly. Now, BlackRock amended its Bitcoin ETF proposal October 18th, roughly a week ago. Then Scott Johnson, an associate at Davis Polk and Wardrell, noted an updated S1 filing, including a QUSIP for the product, which is a 9-character code, which is needed to identify a North American security for the clearing and settlement of trades. The filing also contained language that seed creation baskets were to be purchased in October, subject to conditions, but did not specify a date or an amount. Here is a keyword right here. Seed creation. Seed creation means they're starting to buy Bitcoin right now, and that's probably why the market is pumping. As Eric Balchunas shared here on X, let's share a couple of his recent tweets regarding this. Background: seeding an ETF is when initial funding is provided, typically by a bank or a broker-dealer, used to purchase a few creation units, in this case, Bitcoin in exchange for ETF shares, which can be traded in open market on day one. And he notes here, seeding is typically not a lot of money, just enough to get the ETF going. So I wouldn't read this as, oh my God, BlackRock is buying a ton of Bitcoin at all, but more the fact they are doing it and disclosing it, showing another step in the process of launching. And I think he makes a great point there. Now, definitely notable, BlackRock to be leading the charge on these logistics, seeding ticker and the DTCC, as they are the most powerful company in the world. After all, again, with 10 trillion in assets under management. Others had amended their Bitcoin ETF apps recently prior to the BlackRock doing the same. And ARK Invest and 21 Shares updated their Bitcoin ETF filing October 11th. Bloomberg intelligence analysts pointed to various additions, such as the clarification that the trust assets could or would not be commingled with corporate or other customer assets. We also have ARK CEO Cathie Wood, who recently shared on CNBC in an interview last week that the amendment followed dialogue with the SEC, which is a great sign that the approval is incoming. It's inevitable, fam, just a matter of time. The filing amendments are not only the apparent progress being made in the quest for the Bitcoin ETF, we also have Grayscale, the largest hodler of Bitcoin. They currently control over 600,000 BCC. They filed last week to register shares for their Bitcoin trust. We know GBTC under the Securities Act of 1933 as part of their new step in the process to ultimately convert their GBTC trust into an official spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, the DC Circuit Court of Appeals just this Monday formalized its August ruling that the SEC rejecting GBTC conversion to an ETF but approving Bitcoin future funds was arbitrary, and we know it's not in the best interest of the investors. The firm looks forward to continuing to work constructively with the SEC to convert GBTC to an ETF. A Grayscale spokesperson told Blockworks, adding, "We intend to move as expeditiously as possible." So there you have it, fam. How many of you think BlackRock is likely to get the green light first from the SEC? Let me know. How many of you think it could be Grayscale or ARK 21? Or how many of you think it'll all be collectively the green light for all the major asset managers at the same time to be offering the spot Bitcoin ETF product, kind of like a domino effect? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. And now let's dive into our live Q&A, fam.